Yeah, I think this is the demonstration because over the course, it's not real exciting to watch the resin printer. It just kind of over the course of hours slowly lifts. I can show you the machine itself.
Right.
Meeting room.
So it's not very big.
If y'all can walk over there.
I got a loader soon. We've got over here where the window. This is the build plate, it goes down into the resin. And then over time, the UV cures the resin as it lifts and creates that. That's just
the printer pieces.
So it takes 4 hours. So super excited to watch. Right. Doesn't.
So what's at the bottom?
That's resin. So as you be like, we'll hit that in layers, it will harden into adjustments. And it's pretty easy to just load up designs in here, print it, and then we'll just go layer by layer. Print like that. Down fumes and you will touch it.
Is that the only piece? That part?
That's the, for that one? Yeah, there's no a lot of moving parts, just it pulls the very. Very good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think I do a lot of dancing.
And then the other one is the filament printer, which will be much more exciting to watch, which will probably be the one we use to show kids how that works, because it'll go back and forth on the build plate as it adds filament bit by bit. They'll get excited to watch that, I think.
Taking business, I guess we'll go through the policies.
Yep.
They are.
And so, yeah, the included here is the procedures for the collection development of the Arts and Technology Center, which is a circulating collection of physical items. I've got a handout that's just a mock-up of what would go in the kits. If you want to just pass that around. Essentially, with each item will be resource sheets that have information on how to use the item, useful links like videos, databases. So for things like crocheting kit, you would be able to get a link to various patterns. Or for the telescope, we're going to have a video talking about how to use it, best practices, apps you can download on your phone. Just whatever goes with each item, a list of ways to use it best, to maintain it, and how to explore creatively using whatever it is. So I'm going to have a GoPro, Chromebooks, knitting kit, crochet kit, a beading loom, a microscope. So all kinds of technology and creative tools for people to use to do whatever kind of hobby stuff they want. Any questions? We've had this question before. So one of the ongoing trends for this kind of collection is it's a library of things. So instead of books, it's a thing. And the capital T thing, it's kind of it's a semi-serious nod to the trend, but also way easier than just kind of saying item or piece. It's just a way to denote these are the items in the collection. And that's certainly possible, especially for the site that we will eventually roll out to show people what is in the collection. But as far as this goes, this is more of an administrative document. So we could add that language in there. I don't know if it's strictly necessary, but we can if it is useful to people.
This is an internal document.
Mhm. Right.
So there are some items, some things that will not be permitted to give the premises. At whose discretion is that?
So most of the items that are going to be in the artsy collection are things that will be able to circulate outside the library. As far as I know, I haven't really come up with any items that aren't leaving the premise or that have to stay here. Everything that's in the artsy, or the Arts and Technology Center will be able to leave the library. So if there's some other piece that is something that we use here, like we have board games that you can't leave the library with, but I didn't anticipate those being part of this collection. That's just a separate thing. All of the items in this collection will circulate outside the library. Now, there may be more work that needs to be done for like the telescope, for instance. Somebody might have to sign that they've watched the video, they know how to maintain it, they know they won't have to, or they say they've done the orientation or whatever it is, but it will be able to leave the library. So the Arts and Technology Center as kind of a way to denote what it's for. So, and then it's kind of artsy as a cute acronym. But to say that this is, the intention is to explore creativity and technology in a way that, like Spencer was saying earlier, kind of defrays the upfront cost. So you don't create a burden on people wanting to explore things. They don't have to go and buy something they may only use once. They go to the library and check out a leatherworking kit or, a calculator for a test, stuff like that.
In crafting, because it does list board games, so will there be special arts in board games?
We may explore the collection, especially if we wanted to do like more STEAM-based or art-based games, we may do that. I think putting that language in there now lets us explore a little bit more. Mhm. Yeah, I think it's important to people kind of get in their mind, I want to go and check out arts, see what, and that'll be in our catalog, that'll be the call number.
Under the baseline concept before we discuss.
We don't have any plans for growth like right now, like no concrete, because this was my end of master's program project. So putting this together and implementing it has been like the past month's work. So just having these items that were already approved for the friends to buy. And then if we want to expand that, we can and look to budget those out. But right now it's the stuff in the collection now and getting it implemented and getting it into the hands of patrons.
We do have an issue of space.
Yeah,
Randomly, check out my 18-year-olds.
not on my part, but I mean, if there is a wish to do that, we can.
Like for future scale, to have some parameters about how we might decide if something is appropriate for an 18-year-old or not, or younger than 18-year-old.
Certainly willing to hear any feedback on that, sure.
I think we talked earlier about by case basis of the item,
Mhm.
since each item is gonna have a separate checkout sheet, right?
Mhm. And yeah, that may be true. It may be based on like the value of the item or the complicated nature of it. For instance, I wouldn't think I would give an 8-year-old the telescope because it's a very complicated piece of machinery and expensive. So getting their parents to check it out and then they can be responsible for it, sure, but not by themselves. Whereas, the graphing calculator, okay, that's no problem. Or some of the less destructible items. Yeah, and
When because we have a policy already in place for age limits for quite a bit. So if you're gonna do it, then I sort of think you need to do it across the board.
Yeah, we can explore that.
But well, we definitely need to explore that. But we will.
This is really cool. I'm very excited about it.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get some of these things out myself. I think it's really.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think the main problem I'm experiencing now is some of the items that have lots of little pieces with them, especially the GoPro, because it has like 30 accessories that go with it. So figuring out a way to very easily list all of the items and keep them in a compartment with themselves. We have the kits pretty much built, the bags that will go with it, but keeping all of those items together when we check in and check out, that's going to be an issue. And figuring out a way to create an easily accessible resource sheet so that people know how to use the item as opposed to just, okay, well, here's the thing, good luck. That's a lot of places have items that check out and they just give them to people like power tools. But I wanted to do specifically having a kit that had instructions, that had ideas, that's more than just giving someone the item. It's giving someone the capacity to use it as they get home. And so creating one of those for each item for this dozen something items and keeping them safe and keeping them together. It's taken a little bit more than I thought it would, a little more effort. So it's taken a little bit longer to roll out, especially like we have a guitar, we have an acoustic guitar that's going to be part of the collection. And so figuring out a way to have everything that goes with that guitar, strings and, tuning and then the instruction booklet that links to our LinkedIn Learning How to Play Guitar database course. It's a lot. And so the scope of the project has creep over time. So project creep, I'm sure you're aware of. So we're dealing with that now. And I think it's going to be exciting. And I think I'm really excited to see people checking things out and things being put on reserve. And as people are like, oh, we have a guitar, I'm going to go and learn how to play guitar. And I think that'll be neat, but it's getting all the things done while I have all these other things to do until we get a director. And so, it's everything kind of happened all at once. So I'm looking forward to it though.
But it's not in place right now.
We have some items that are already cataloged and once I get the resource sheets in there, they can go out immediately. And so probably for the next 2 weeks. And then, over time, each thing getting added in and expanded upon and the resource kits finished. We should have everything available within a month, 2 months.
Is there a time on each item or not?
So it will conform to the normal rules of circulation, which is 2 weeks at a time. But people, if no one's waiting for it, people can renew these items.
So it's gonna follow.
It's going to be like a normal item, yeah.
Do you already have a cricket machine?
We do. We got a Cricut Joy, this is the small one. So people, there's plenty of projects people will be able to use and do with that one. I think so too. And so there'll be a long reserve list and we may end up needing to get another or two, or maybe some more sophisticated ones, but I think people will get excited. Mhm.
Well, we're still waiting to hear. They have HR has been inundated with numerous job openings. We had, they created some. So everybody's kind of running behind. So we're just waiting for a formal offer to be made and an acceptance. And so that's kind of where the director's position stands. The Friends graciously provided funding for items for the team area. So y'all are welcome to go. Look, we have some of them in place. It is a work in progress right now because we're still waiting for like a table for the bar stools or the high stools and we have a lamp that has 3 USB ports, 2 plug-ins that they can sit at. We're gonna be putting in card games and small things, a throw blanket. We have floor pillows, beanbag chairs. Want it to be comfortable. Teens like to lounge. So, and then the orange rugs to tie the two separate areas. The way it's set up, teens, it's kind of an awkward shelving, but there's not much to do, so we're trying to work with it. So we have a round orange rug. We have the YA, we're gonna move the YA graphic novels there, we have the nonfiction, in the beginning of the fiction books. And that's kind of going to be like a quiet reading study area, or as quiet as our library can be being open. But there'll be times. And then the other side, we have the tablet table, we have a hexagonal orange rug. And it does, and then we put up some new artwork for the back, on the wall above the shelves. And, then we have Jen, who is one of our new library assistants. And Michael and I are both working with her to get her, she's gonna be kind of targeting the teen programs. So we're training her.
So maybe we can go take a look at after we go through. Okay.
Like I said, it's not quite finished, so things may be rearranged at some point. But that was the kind of the thought behind the beanbag chairs. Things like to move around. Yeah. Well, they might not want to sit there today, but you know. And then we're still playing around with some of the artwork. We have some smaller ones that are on top of the shelf. And my favorite, the Andy Warhol self-portrait. But so it's kind of a collage, and it brings in the orange stools that we have. I know previously the board has they wanted like those egg chairs.
Right.
Well, they've been on back order for what, a year and a half, 2 years, I
Yeah.
think. And finally received an email. Well, I had to locate where they were coming from because I didn't have that information. So, but they're still on back order and probably will be for another year and maybe longer. So we went ahead and canceled it. I talked with
There's kids playing outside.
anyway, so we talked it over and we went ahead and canceled it because we were just
Yeah,
sitting
just
here
waiting for something.
and we needed to move forward with
Right.
creating a warm and welcoming environment, a place that teens wanted to come and lounge. We wanted to come in and read. So I think this will help. And we're booking a teen study group from one of the high schools, several. And then Jen will be doing some outreach into the schools and meeting the librarians and just. Teens are hard and they're very busy, you know, and if they're involved in sports or band, there is hard time. So we're also looking at online activities and group discussion groups and things like that.
So have you had any things coming in and using the space?
We've had people, I would say they're more tweens.
Okay.
And then we've had younger children with their parents. We do have so we're looking at some table. Right now, we have a Kaplan table that connects to the internet. Sorry. I saw your head quick. So, that we bought for the children's area. And they do have fun with it, but we found another one, I think it's ABC Mouse, but I have to double check on that. It's designed strictly for preschool. And then we thought about using the Kaplan table for the gaming and adult and teen programming in here in the meeting room. Because we're that is obviously a high interest area. We could also probably work something out with Pokemon.
Yeah, in the teen area it's a large tablet table. Essentially, it's just like a big smartphone. And so they can play Roblox or whatever kind of games they want on there. But we do see lots of little kids playing on there while their parents are looking around for books. So if we have, make it more of a teen area that looks inviting to teens, I think we can get more teens using that area. Because right now it's just kind of a landing pad for anyone who wanders by, which is not a bad thing. People using it is people using it.
There's always, there's somebody sitting here every time I walk.
Mhm.
Particularly after school, you know. So I love my tablet table. And it is pretty cool. We also have thought about, we aren't advertising this. But we can tilt it on in. It's designed so that it can stand up off the phone. You know. So right now it's flat, but the legs are done such that tilt it up and they can sit and play games. So. And we have to get Bluetooth headphones connected to do that. That one, we worry more about cords. So I'm excited. Well, we all do different, whoever's available, but Jen is going to be the primary focus. Part of her job duties will be focusing on getting teams in and designing some programs. Most of them are not going to be set weekly programs. It doesn't work. So they're going to be one-time programs, one-offs. And she'll do maybe 1 or 2 a month and see how that takes off. I mean, currently we have a teen anime,
Teen gamers.
KPL gamers,
Mhm.
and
Big one is going to be,
the Pokemon, of course, they kind of draw all ages.
the big one is going to be the Halloween program we're going to be doing that last Saturday of the month, which is like low-key horror games and movies and snacks. And it's just kind of a drop in, drop out kind of
Yeah.
program.
And then we don't know if I could foot traffic, since Wallace is the only school that's really kind of feasible for them to walk from. You know, I think that is definitely an opportunity to have them come, you know, after school if they feel comfortable. I think I would feel comfortable with my child would be walking here from Wallace. I think there's a
Well-
sidewalk.
Oh, yeah, and they do. I mean, but with the pandemic, everybody has fallen away, and it's really easy to lose the team. You know, if you don't continue to have activities and programs. That interest.
And we still get foot traffic from people getting dropped off at the bus and walking to their houses around here. And that big development that's right there where some of the citizen commenters live currently. You know, we can, you know, we get a lot of traffic from that area. It's just a matter of attracting them and like get them to come in and hang out.
And a lot of them do work, so that's part-time jobs after school. So, and then we're also looking at, we're just tossing around some other ideas like robotics or Lego robotics and code, you know, doing the coding, having someone come in. You know, things that, because they all have varied interests. So it's just good to have a variety of programs, but they would be one-time things. And then-
Virtual activities. Are those being success, or is that still something that's being worked out?
Theoretical at this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like I've had some success with virtual programs in the past. Like when we were closed for the pandemic, we had a lot of programs that were on hiatus. I was running D&D online for kids. My teens are showing up every week for that. So we know that we can do virtual programming. It's just right now we have physical programming. And so like the need for it is less. But, if we can get them in the schedule of, I can't leave my house because I have this at what time and this at what time, but I can go online and talk to my friends about a manga or do an anime discussion group or something. That's what we're looking at. Mhm.
I'm a big proponent. I love the library. Been in it for a long time. But there comes a time when we have to reach out into the community. The library is beyond the four walls they used to be. And teens are one group that you can really reach out to. That, and then the homebound, because they can't come. So whatever barrier, our job is to remove the barrier and meet activities, programs, and reading materials accessible. So they don't necessarily have to come to the building. And we do that through our resources. One of the things I want to work with Jen too is she's getting familiar with the databases we have. So 24/7, you have access to homework help materials that would help, reading materials, things like that. So the other thing I have on my list here are these wonderful programs. This Saturday is our Fiesta de las Flores. It's from 11 to 1. And we'll have the Wallace Middle School Mariachi Band. They're one of our favorites. They love to come and play. But they're really very good. And then we're having Danzantes del Corazon, the Ballet Folklorico. They're students. So this is kind of their recital time, the way to get used to performing in front of people. So they have adult classes, so they'll have the adult class come and perform. They also have the children. The little ones too, that are real cute. And then we're going to have craft activities in between. And we're going to serve fruit with chili powder. It's a
Yeah.
Yeah. You should be familiar with that.
not everybody is.
Yeah.
but That, most out here, most
Well, it is Hispanic heritage, so
Yes.
that's what we're going for.
So we were trying to stay, and we wanted to try to do things across the board, so that is Latin America.
Yeah.
So that we include all countries. So anyway, that should be a lot of fun.
And with that is the chalk art exhibition that will be happening at the same time
Yes.
on the sidewalk out here. So we're just gonna have from 10 to noon, have people come by and do art on the sidewalk and then show it to everybody from noon to 2. So if you have little guys, little girls who want to come and put on a show with their chalk, or big people too, we don't judge.
Big people invited.
Big people are invited. We have a bunch of different colors of chalk and just show off your art skills on the sidewalk.
Then next week on Friday, we have the genealogy batch. And this is sponsored. Originally, it was sponsored through, well, it still is, Waco McLennan Library's Genealogy Center, the Central Texas Genealogical Society, and we are now they've created the Genealogy Network of Texas, which is libraries that participate in this, of which we are one. And so we're now doing hybrids. This came out of the pandemic kind of. We were doing in person, but now we're doing videos that you can access from home. So on Friday, October 21st, there will be a link on our website. You do need to call in and register, and of course, we'll email it to you so you have it. Handouts are available. You can watch the videos in any order. So we'll be getting that on the website here shortly, along with the list of workshops. And so they've taken, Bill Bruckner at the Waco McLennan, they created a list of. So there's a variety, they're leveled by difficulty, so there's some intermediate, there's some beginners. And this year I didn't see any advanced, but everybody can learn. So, I'm currently working on my certification in genealogy as a genealogist. And so this is going to tie in another ancient writing, reading ancient writing. So there's lots of things that you might find interesting there.
And so it's going to be here and online, just to be clear. So you can come and watch the videos here.
We will,
Or
we'll
access.
stream it here. You can watch it from home, and we'll print out handouts for free if people want to come in. And that runs from 9. The last one starts at 5 and ends at 6.
Wow.
All day.
You don't have to come for the whole day. And that's, in the past, well, I think Waco calls it the genealogy lock-in. And we did too, but then we had a lot of seniors that were coming, expecting us to serve lunch because they thought they were gonna be locked in. So that's why, but I wanted to make it sound fun because we're celebrating family history research month, or family history.
And we won't lock you in.
And we won't lock you in. So you can come and go, as you please, and attend those that are interested. You know, you might not be interested in, although Allen County is one of the largest genealogy centers. So, but if you aren't interested in attending that, then but you might want to come to 1 in the morning, come back to that. Strictly. They are recorded videos. They're live streamed and then recorded so that we can offer that. It will only be available though midnight, 12 a.m. to 12 p.m. on so it's not, other than that, there's copyright, so it won't be available. Oh, these are experts in the field. So they're very careful. And so those are the problems. Then, Monday the 31st, we're having trick or treat to the library. So if you want your bag of candy, you can come and go trick or treating through there. We'll probably have a special showing or a guest star of Dylan. His featured stars in the library. But the sneak back videos.
If you haven't gone yet, go to the Kyle Public Library YouTube page and be delighted. I'm just saying. This is great.
We have a part-time library assistant who amazes me with his voices, but he's behind the Dylan and Freddie
Freddie the Frog.
and Captain Stripey
Yeah, Captain Stripey, yes.
and any numerous cast of characters. And we do, the kids love it. So we're actually trying to figure out, Dylan will be in some of the Halloween displays.
He may even appear in the car in the parking lot.
Yeah,
For Halloween.
you've seen the derelict police car. So we're thinking of decorating that with cobwebs and spiders. And having Dylan sit in the driver's seat. We were discussing that today with one of the assistant city manager. They thought that was a great idea. So statistics, I do not have, I've got some of the ending summer reading. We are in the middle of a transitioning accounts for access because we didn't have access. Only the director did. And so we've created a situation where we have central where we can all access invoices and we have access to the information to set up each database accounts and we're changing passwords too for security. So as soon as I do that, I will have access to be able to compile statistics, or I will have numbers to use. And so next month, I will have the end of year for budget year up through September. And then I'll have your October statistics to be able to take a look at. It will probably, starting with the new budget year here in October, it'll probably look a little different. Because we're having to rearrange. We'll do it in our own style. You'll be able to tell how great we're doing. So we ended the summer reading with 568 participants total. 289,137 minutes were read. We are doing it by minutes. I've been in this business a long time. Yes, you can do it by the number of books you read, but I don't care how many books you read. I care that you read. And so we played with hours, and during the pandemic, we had to go online very quickly. So in a 2-week period, I researched all these different online things. And came up, so we use an online program now for called Book Points Project out of Chicago. And they keep track of our minutes and participants, and it's just changed our lives, hasn't it? All the statistics you could want, so we know which schools they're coming from, or whether they're homeschooled, whether they're even in school or preschool. And so that's made it very easy, and so it keeps track by minutes, and we found that we love that. And it equals the board. That way, a 6-year-old learning to read can read just as many minutes as that his mom, who's reading an 800-page book, you know. The fact is they're reading. And so this way, also with this program, we can do adults, teens, and children.
And create badges. So,
Badges
like,
as they reach different levels.
read a book in the garden, or read a romance novel from this culture, or, we can customize it so it's like people go hunting for achievements like they do in video games, but with books. Gamification, that's right.
So did you use this for summer reading?
Did the last few years,
Last 2 years, or 3 years.
3 years, I think.
3 years. 2020 is when we started.
And I get the sense that it's reducing your administrative burden to track the data to
Right.
operate this program, correct?
We were doing it all by hand with slips of paper. And this way, it's automatically entered, so there's less error. So my goal before I retire someday is to get that number up. I want to see 1,000 children participating in summer reading and more adults. We are trying to encourage and remind parents and grandparents and any adult, if a child sees you reading, you're modeling that habit for them. And so they're going to think, oh, my teacher reads, that's pretty cool. So, and then we are doing outreaches for summer schools, summer school. So we'll sign up the whole class under the teachers. And then we've got the help of the teacher encouraging the children to read. So we're working on that, but it was very good. We had a lot of good comments, a lot of good response to our programs too. As evidenced by Austin Restaurants, where we had to, and then he was gracious enough at the last minute to do 2 programs.
Yeah, the Facebook post shared over 20,000 times. And so we ended up having over 700 people come to the shows, and the room can only fit 250-ish. So we had to break it up into 2 shows. and glad the fire marshal didn't show up. Um, Sorry.
Well,
Uh,
we've opened these doors to even fetch it a little bit.
So, but the kids got to see some reptiles and you could hear them oohing and awing and screaming when the snakes came out. And so it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we'll probably have them back.
Yeah.
Evidently snakes are a big hit. And he does a good program, gotta say.
Sure.
And we'll plan for two. Probably.
Mhm.
This summer was probably the first time we had in-person programs.
Again.
Okay.
Yeah.
We
And
had.
people wanted to
three-
come out.
Yeah, they've all been online. In 21, we had one, the last 2 or 3,
Yeah.
but we didn't have a lot of people respond, but this summer. Everything's back to normal, kind of. I think that's the thought process there. And that's really all I have. I do have the Friends report. Between our vending and we are now selling headphones again, but between book bags, donations. And if y'all notice, we're trying to, Michael is working diligently to find just the right style of bookshelf for the Friends book sale out here. And, but we have it on a book cart right now. And book, hardbacks are $1.
Hardbacks are $1,
Children's are
paperbacks.
20%.
So paperbacks are 50 cents and kids' books are 25 cents, priced to move. So we get good donations from lots of people and the thrift store is full to the rafters with books too. So we want to get books in the hands of people. So we want to sell them cheap and we want to get them reading. So anytime you come by and you see something you like next to the vending machine, just take it up to the front desk and help the library.
And so this was actually for August and September. So between the vending machine, the book bags, and the book sale, they made a total of $454.
Great.
And we like to help the friends out. They help us out. They're paid buying for the entire stuff for the teen area, items for the teen.
3D
area.
printers.
3D printers, they got those 3D printers. And we've got a couple of more projects in the works. One of them being, well, I won't say, because I haven't talked to them about it yet. But like the ABC mouse tables for the preschoolers, they gave them their educational games like color shapes. So I'm going to ask them if they would like to help with that for early literacy. And then, Mary is trying to revamp we're trying to get the genealogy. She and I are the ones that are, it's been the lost child for a while, I'm afraid. And so we're designing, so we have a lot of photographs that we don't know who they are or what they are, where they are. They are in Kyle. I can notice some of the buildings that, so we're trying to design something that we can push out to the public, like help the library identify who this is, or can you identify this building from what year? So we can start creating archival albums. We get a lot of requests for research. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of information except for very local. And we're going to try to work with the cemetery, or I'm going to talk with them to see if we can get a listing, a more complete listing of who's buried there. Because that's a good way to start genealogy and family history research. And I think everybody should have a newsletter with all for October. If you prefer the Spanish version, there is one that Mary is doing great guns by translating the whole thing.
Yeah, she's got a master's in Spanish, so she does a good job of translating everything we do into Spanish.
And she's She just started our Spanish class, our beginning Spanish.
Mhm.
And she's looking to add in the intermediate class. Then, she does the ESL practice, or English. That's all I have for today. Sure.
A while ago, we looked at company and the team.
Oh.
Yes, that is evidently on hold and, Tim is out.
The facility, the head of the facilities who would be doing that.
Yeah, he's head of facilities. He's out for an extended period. And, so it kind of, I think.
Felt, yeah. Hopefully it will make it onto next year's budget.
We'll have it.
Since we had the wonderful time of actually choosing them, you know, now next time it's just a matter of making the final call on that one and getting added to the budget. Paint and
Glad
carpeting.
you remind me, because I had actually double checked today and no, it's not on the budget. We did get carousels, so individual
Study
study
carols.
carousels, so with the, or carols, rather, carousels. It's like-
Study carousels would be
It's been a
fun.
long day, I've been in here since what?
Yeah.
Carols, so we have a lot of materials over here that will go to auction, so as soon as we clear all that out, we can bring in the carols and, because there's a lot of stuff in the quiet.
Yeah, the idea being that our quiet room, which is right now just a room where people aren't allowed to talk, it will actually be individual study carols so that people can study and have a lamp and plug in.
The cool thing is we can accommodate more people that way too. This will actually allow more people to make use of the quiet.
So that's where they're gonna go.
Yes. No. So if you, so if
You
you,
know, for the director's offices, then the heritage room, then the last room. is
Okay, yeah,
quiet.
okay.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Something. On the 22nd, for the new members at 2 p.m. as our starting on.
so normally it's on the third Saturday of every month, but because we have the big event on this weekend, it got pushed to the fourth. But if you ever want to meet some cool amateur astronomers and get hooked up with events to go and watch the night sky, like Michael did just recently, they had like a dozen people, right?
Yeah.
Good turnout.
And so, you know, go stargazing with some cool people. Come on by to the astronomy club and learn some stuff.
We're reaching the end
Mhm.
of the agenda. And we can go ahead and do, we want to choose chairperson and secretary. And go ahead and do that. Yes. So we have one nomination for chairperson. It's my pick. Anybody else? So we're going to do this as a oral consensus or?
I would encourage somebody else to think about it. And just because I was the first person to say something, Morgan was the first person to say something, that's fine, but you're new to the board, you might as well step up. It's not hard. And for me, the still in Charybdis is that, I never interrupt somebody when they're speaking, but I also watch the clock. So that's my modality, as a chair, just to keep things moving forward. But, you know, it's an easy thing to do, and somebody else would definitely consider it, especially if you're new, That's a good reason to do it. Because then there's no history. You know?
Is that your way of bowing?
Well, I'm just saying, you know, we tend to do things by inertia, because I'm gonna nominate Jessica to be the secretary. She's already said she would do almost anything.
Say something like that.
You said you would volunteer for, you know, it's a new position.
So, watching the.
We'll check the tape. We'll check the tape.
I'm gonna say right now that like I would love also for someone new to see if they would like to be secretary. Because I feel concerned about my ability to engage in conversation while simultaneously taking notes. I think I could do secretary, but I don't know if my multitasking skills are quite up to.
I'm gonna come back with something. If you're observing teachers and writing down what they're saying, what they're doing, you can be a secretary for the library.
Okay, I can do it. I can do it.
Yeah.
That's fine. I can do it if people want me to do it. I'll do it.
And we'll-
I'll do almost anything.
You can just say, so we've got, okay, thank you. So we've got, is this okay with everybody? We're really informal here.
Mhm.
And I'm just gonna watch, I forget that, Michael.
No, it's not a big deal, no.
You did not make yourself.
Okay, so we have, thank you.
Okay.
And, that's fine, because if I can do it, you can do it.
All right, if I need help, I'll say, what do I do?
Yes, you just say repeat, please. That's a good question, because it could be for the full time that we're on the board, or as new people come in.
I certainly wouldn't mind shadowing you. So if you engage in conversation, I can step up. And if you want to do something as a, I don't know if that's possible or not, you can certainly have the title. I can do the legwork.
Oh, then you should have the.
No, I mean, just,
No, and that, thank you for bringing that up, because that did happen way back when we had a secretary that it was kind of hard for him to get here on time and stuff. So some of us others would take on the lead, and he would come in late or whatever, but sometimes he couldn't come. So it has happened.
Yeah.
So that you know that one of you can support the other.
We can compile your notes together and then you would just be typing them up and sending them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds good. I mean, I am not gonna be visually late, don't worry about that.
Well, I think that would be.
If I come soon. Yeah, that sounds good.
So we've got that one in here. So, Michael, do you accept the nomination of being chair?
I accept the nomination.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, so we've got that settled. With that said, you need to sign these minutes, and I need to sign these minutes. We'll give them to her. Thank you, guys. Thank you for everything and coming and being new and looking forward to it. And so the next meeting.
I'm fine.
I learned the difference between a ballpoint pen, a roller ball, and a gel pen. We think that they're all the same, at least I always had. You don't know. See, look at you, you don't know. How many times have you tried to write on a receipt from a cash register and you couldn't do it? It's because, right, the pen don't. Not designed for that. Oh, boy. I mean, we got there because you found it.
I have seen others who think that I used to. It's funny that I was respectful.
That's a.
You know what? Well. Yep. Okay, so the meeting is adjourned. And.
The library still open to see the teen area, or should we?
Yeah, we'll have to go through there.
That's